Okay, so what I'm gonna do. Dish my food. Okay, I'm already recording already.
Oh my God, Brian, look!
So, yeah.
We made it! We made it to Garbage Island! My God, I don't believe it! Whoa, look at all the packaging from Mickey D's. What? Oh my God, I've never heard that! Mickey D's! That is just great. Anyway, let's start looking for my big wheel. Hey, check it out, VCR just sitting here. I'm taking this sucker home. Oh crap, Brian, you idiot! Now how the hell are we supposed to get back to land?
Oh yeah, I forgot to say, guys, I'm back. So
Look, message in a bottle is
here I am.
Maybe this will help.
Dear England, enclosed, please find one bottle fart in exchange for Russell Brand. We feel this is appropriate compensation. Yours, etc., America.
I've seen a lot of good cops go down. I don't want to watch that happen to you.
This isn't about politics, it's about playing the hand you have.
Wrold Thursday, new seasons this fall on CTV.
I can do something. Turn nothing into something.
Turning nothing into something. It's amazing what you can do with nothing in a little helmets.
Canadians have can-do spirit. So does GoDaddy.
Still a decent, honorable man.
That's the kind of talk that makes me want to marry you.
Oh crap! I forgot to turn it. Oh god.
I'm leaving town forever. Goodbye.
Oh. Wait, there's nobody here.
Well, it's time to pick up where I left off. As a no-good street punk.
Oh no. Sorry.
Principal Skinner?
Up yours, children.
Let's give it a show, boys. We're gonna lose. We can't lose. We'll never lose again.
No.
Get your bums in the seat.
Build your brand online with a beautiful logo. Just go to Week's Logo Maker. To start,
Ready for recess.
and add the
Check.
tagline. It's for a pet
Back with
supply
friends.
shop, so it's gonna be fun,
Check.
playful, and fresh. Then, add Week's Logo Maker
Back to school
under
swagger.
style.
Check.
Choose where you'll use it.
Let's go. All the brands. All at Sport Check.
Wow, so many great options. Let's go with this one. Here is where
New from Sally Hansen, special effects top coats. Transform any shade with 3 new miracle gel effects you've never seen before for a magical nanny. And go beyond color with new miracle gel special effects top coats. Shop now. New Astro Protein and Fiber Yogurt. 14 grams of protein and 4 grams of fiber in every serving. It helps give you the energy you need for all the things you do. New Astro Protein and Fiber Yogurt. Fill up, fuel up, go.
It's done.
Go on like this! You're slowing me down, Ryan!
This? Wait, I can fix it. Please, don't leave.
No, you're Ryan! Turn that work!
I'll change.
To Canada's best 5G network.
Spotted. A DQ chicken strip basket? Get excited, dunkers. Because it's your choice of dips. Dip a strip in gravy, ranch, or flamethrower dip. It's genius. It's the DQ chicken strip basket, and it's ready for the plunge. DQ, happy
You
tastes
cannot
good.
put it
Is anyone there?
but you cannot put it where you have a slight little
all new Tuesdays at 10.
over weekend.
Only on Much.
Now
Don't
to
pull it
recap
covered.
our top story in its entirety. The adaptable citizens of Springfield have opened their hearts to Principal Seymour Skinner, who... That one? Idiots.
Thank you. Thank you. I must say, in many ways, Springfield really beats the old slave labor camp.
I admit Sergeant Skinner seems okay, but Mr. Tanzarian pulled himself up from the streets and earned our respect and admiration. Now what about his name? His name doesn't matter. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Not if you called him Stench Blossom.
Or crabweed.
I will
I'm sure
just
it's in there
finish
dozen
close.
crackweeds for Valentine's Day.
Maybe it's
Rather candy.
And if they were called scumdrops.
Your new principal would like to say a few words. Remember, you have to respect him. The war hero.
Thank you, Chalmers. You know where I come from, and there's no better way to get acquainted than by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance together. Why don't you lead us, son?
Hey, America, you're so fine. You're so fine, you blow my mind. America.
That's very concise, but it's an insult to everything I suffered for. Now take a seat, Junior. Listen to someone who gave their youth in service of their country. Mrs. Scrabapple, the pledge, please.
You haven't dealt with women for a long time, have you, Sergeant?
Are you asking me out?
433rd Street, my old neighborhood. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Capital City's nakedest ladies. They're not even wearing a smile. Not suggestively. Yes, 6, count 'em. 6 gorgeous ladies just dying for your leers and catcalls. Yowza, yowza.
Seymour, it's 7:30. Where were you?
A barn, huh?
I don't know what that is, but on Fridays, you come straight home after school. Tonight is silhouette night. Sit there.
I really just came home to change into a curtain.
Seymour, sit.
In the morning. Oh, Mom? I'm borrowing your car.
Good morning, Agnes. How's your new son working out? That child is the most disobedient, smart-alecky, middle-aged man in creation.
Hello, ladies. Is this the line for people who want to badmouth Sergeant Skinner?
And you have 10 items or less.
12, 11, 10. The man's a weenie.
Now, to be fair, Edna, I like Armin Tanzarian too, but he was at least as big a weenie as Sergeant Skinner.
But he was our weenie.
Now, there was a weenie you could be proud to call your son. Did you ever tell him that?
Okay, once more. Where are we going?
Capital City.
Why are you and the old lady in the car?
We're gonna talk Armin Tanzarian and you're coming back.
Why is Mark here?
I came up with the idea.
And why am I here?
Because the streets of Capital City are no place for 3 unescorted ladies.
Why are the kids here?
Because we couldn't find Grandpa to sit for them.
Why is Grandpa here? Jasper didn't want to come by himself. Fair enough. Hello, beautiful.
In your dreams.
Well, see about that.
My mind is made up. Not coming back. That's final.
Oh, Seymour.
And I'm not Seymour. My name is Armin. This is Armin's apartment, Armin's liquor, Armin's copy of Swank, Armin's frozen peas.
Can I see your copy of Swank, Armin?
Yes, you can. This is Armin's life, and maybe it's not perfect, but at least I'm back where I belong. I was born in No Goodnick, and I'll die in No Goodnick.
Seymour, I I didn't bring you up to use language like that.
Well, you didn't bring me up at all.
The hell I didn't. I've been taking care of you for 26 years. I'm the only mother you've ever known.
But you have your real son.
You're my real son. You've been my son longer than he has, and he doesn't need me, and I don't need him. Now you march yourself downstairs and get in that car.
Yes, honey.
And the rest of you too. Yes, Mrs. Skinner.
That's what I'm just saying. You also need work to do
Hey, everybody, look! Herman Tamzarian's back! And he's gonna take over the school again!
Now, hold on. Armin Tamzarian is an unsavory character who played us all for chumps.
All right. So he's a fraud. I don't care. His mom doesn't care. Do any of you care?
You all seem to be forgetting that I am Seymour Skinner. This is where I belong. You can't ask me to disappear just because you like some other guy better. I gave half my life for you people. Aren't I entitled to a little dignity?
You're right, Sergeant.
Well, I don't see any way out of this.
Now, if you'll allow me, I think I have a solution that'll satisfy the town and let Sergeant Skinner keep his dignity.
But I'm a hero!
And we salute you for it. Now don't come back.
I'm sorry, Seymour. It's nice you're alive, but you're just not what I'm looking for in a son. I'm glad you understand.
That's her own real son. What the hell is she doing?
This is a lovely gesture. We still have to face the fact that I'm not really Seymour Skinner.
No, we don't. Judge Snyder.
By authority of the city of Springfield, I hereby confer upon you the name of Seymour Skinner, as well as his past, present, future, and mother.
Okay.
Hold on.
And I further decree that everything will be just like it was before all this happened. And no one will ever mention it again.
Sorry for being so late.
Here, son. This is yours again.
I've never been happier or prouder to be Seymour Skinner, but these last few days is that hot-headed rogue Armin Tamzarian has taught me a thing or two. You know, maybe I've been a little too uptight in the past. Well, from now on, you're going to see a new Seymour Skinner.
Oh, no, we won't.
Yes.
never come back there.
It's time to get physical. Get into the hottest race of the summer on an all-new Amazing Race Canada. Tuesday at 9, 8 Central, only on CTV. Then stream
Sorry for eating. Forgive me.
He's loved the Big Mac for as long as he can remember, since this very moment, actually. Do you remember your first bite feeling? Well, the feeling is back, but bigger.
Ronald McDonald House is a place for families to stay while their child. No, it won't be seen.
Space. Here's your wonderful bathroom. And then I see there's this kitchen outside. Oh my god! It's amazing! Yeah! I think basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna move on downstairs and just live here. It's like a whole other house, it feels like, but it's outside.
You look around and it just feels like so much usable space. You still have tons of room for the kids with the play structure. Actually, there's so many empty chairs here. Yeah. I can feel we're missing someone here. Hey! Come on in! We designed this space with Citadel's family in mind, so it was really rewarding to have them all there to see it for the very first time.
Remember there was a fire here?
I think Victor was almost more shocked than Citadel, but it was obvious that it
Oh,
meant
God,
so
I'm
much
okay.
to all of them. I just wanted to say a big toast to you. Cheers.
Cheers!
Oh, wait, before we do this, actually, there's one more surprise left.
There's more
It wasn't enough for only the family to see the transformation. So we wanted Citadel and Allie's entire crew to come too, so ladies' night can start tonight.
In this space, it was so nice night to be able to immediately fill it up with friends and laughter, and it was like christening.
I'm kind of feeling now how Victor feels, where he's like, this is my time to step out and let you enjoy your space.
I'm just so happy. I mean, it's my favorite thing to like just have a house full of laughing, cackling friends, and thank you so much for everything. This has absolutely been one of the top 4 days of my life. I'm just so touched that you would
Hold on.
think of me. It's completely exceeded anything I could have imagined. It's amazing.
Cheers to sit it out.
I didn't know people was on that show.
Megastar from her hit TV series, but those close to her know what a real friend she is. Jim McCallum, and friends of the show. You see, he gets Ewoks in this bad. You're not Chewbacca. I used to have the stuffed report from Guardians of the Galaxy, but cinema licked it raw.
There's a time and place for your Randy Ron stories.
Yeah, no more stories about sex, so maybe that will request too.
Well, at work we've been doing some interesting research with our own prosthetics.
Me? I've been rewatching VOC, so we're all leading productive lives.
We've been working on a computer interface that can use brainwave patterns to control robotic limbs. But we're having a little trouble localizing the signal from the EEG pattern.
Have you thought about adding a phased array of sensors for better localization?
Actually, that never occurred to me.
Never occurred to me I would miss the Ewok conversation.
Good, because I just bought another one on Amazon.
I should just watch
I
the show, but
was
I
an
want to.
engineer on this project.
Well, but this works out great. Howard's an engineer. I'm sure you know someone qualified. She's talking about me, Sean. I'm perfectly qualified.
Yeah, Howie's the world's best engineer and says so right on his coffee mug.
Aw, you got him a mug.
I didn't. But it's not a competition.
Yeah, I lost that battle years ago.
So, Howard, are you interested?
Are you kidding? If I could control robot arms with my brain, I could do so many things. Really? But you've been controlling human arms with your brain for years, and not much has come of it.
In a hot, dense state that nearly 14 billion years ago expansion started. Way earlier began to cool the autotrophs began to dry and both developed.
These kinds of temperatures could continue. As you said, there have been extreme reactions across the country already. London Luton Airport had to cancel some of its flights there because the heat was causing the tarmac of the runway to lift. The military's also been experiencing problems. The largest airfield that they use, Rise Norton, found that some of the tarmac was melting. So this is really intense temperatures, and people are being warned to stay inside, stay hydrated, and really be careful. This is really serious, and they're telling people that they need to take heed of these.
And certainly elsewhere in Europe, we've already seen some, our viewers will have seen in the last few minutes some of the pictures of the fires that are taking place and raging there. What more can you tell us about that situation?
Yeah, a lot of Europe is struggling with this heat. It's because of the high pressure system that's over the continent right now and has been moving west towards the UK. That's why these temperatures are hitting us here as well. And France is said to be heading towards apocalyptic heat. That's what experts are saying there. Continuously high temperatures that will again offer danger to life for those people that are struggling to cope with those temperatures there. We've seen wildfires across Greece, Portugal, Spain. Thousands of firefighters are out trying to tackle these blazes that are engulfing hectares of land. People are being evacuated from their homes in the thousands. And there's also been a number of deaths, particularly in Portugal. More than 600 people there reported to have died, most of those elderly. struggling clearly with these temperatures. And we're hoping, of course, as we move through the week, that they will start to subside, but they're still going to remain high. There will still be a lot of dry ground around. That sort of tinderbox situation that many of these areas will be experiencing will continue. And putting out these fires is difficult for these firefighters. They've got a real challenge ahead.
Okay, thanks very much, Laura. Stay safe and stay cool. Laura Macon Isherwood is with us there from London. Wildfires are also burning here in Canada. Ontario sending up to 40 firefighters in the Northwest Territories, contributing water bombers to battle a wildfire near a First Nations community in Manitoba. The fire near Papatawagan is in the province's northwest, and it started Friday. The community is now virtually deserted after 2,000 people were evacuated due to smoke and fire risks. The military provided transport planes to get those people to safety. And in BC's southern interior, an out-of-control wildfire just outside the village of Lytton is growing. The flames have destroyed or damaged at least 10 structures and forced more than 100 people to leave their homes. More dry weather is expected in the region. It was ravaged by a wildfire last year, a fire that destroyed the town and killed 2 people. Here's BC's Minister of Public Safety on this summer's growing fire.
The fire right now is about 1,850 hectares. It is holding very well on the north and south flanks, so that is away from areas of human habitation or power lines or infrastructure. The real issue right now is it's moving in a westerly direction towards the Stein Valley Provincial Park. Right now there are about 96 provincial firefighters, First Nations, who are members who are fighting that fire. There are 8 helicopters, and some of them heavy helicopters that are busy fighting the fire. We're watching the weather very closely.
For more on all of this, Stephen Guilbeault is Minister of Environment and Climate Change. He's in Montreal. Hi, Minister Guilbeault. Good to have you back on the program.
Thank you very much, Vash.
Minister, our viewers were just looking at some of the devastation climate change is causing in real time in Europe and right here at home in Canada. Your government today has released through a discussion paper some options it is considering to rein emissions in the oil and gas sector here in Canada in. Environmental advocates, though, they're saying that it's not just reining in emissions, it's really a cap on production that is necessary. Why aren't you considering that?
Well, for a couple of different reasons. I mean, even if we were to reduce production in Canada of fossil fuels, Canadians are still using fossil fuels. They're still consuming fossil fuels in their vehicles, in our trains, in our airplanes. So the oil would just come from somewhere else. What we need to do is to fuels in Canada and to ensure that the oil and gas that is being produced
The fuck?
is produced by reducing the amount of
Who broke
the amount
this?
of greenhouse gases that's going into the atmosphere.
And it's the latter part of your answer there that I
Sure, it's not my
explore
train.
more deeply with you, but on the sort of first part of it, the idea that oil is still in demand here, that oil and gas are still in demand. Is it the position of your government then that production will continue to increase, and that's okay?
It's not up to the government to decide that.
It has to be right there up you have to get in.
Projection from the Canadian Energy Regulator, which is an
He's
independent
stupid enough to
body
put it right
of
there.
the federal government. In their last assessment about a year ago, they concluded that we're probably looking at a cap in production around 2030 in Canada, and then oil production will decline, which is in line with other international institutions are saying. The IPCC, the International Energy Agency, both tell us that between now and 2050, oil consumption and therefore production will be reduced by about 75%. So we're producing and consuming about 100 million barrels of oil every day right now. This will go down to somewhere between 25 and 35 million barrels a day in 2050. So there will be far less oil produced and consumed in the world in the coming decades.
Do you think that what's happening, though, for example, with Russia, which has seen Canada, as a result, increase its oil production by about 300,000 barrels a day, do you think that changes that production?
To show how Canada Canada will meet its 2030 targets in various sectors, including oil and gas, transportation, agriculture, buildings, so on and so forth. So 300,000 barrels is totally within the margins of what the Canadian Energy Regulator was forecasting between now and 2030.
And when you say, though, that by 2032, for example, there will be a cap, you don't mean that the federal government is going to impose one. Is your government unequivocal about that?
No, it's a peak in production. That's what the regulator.
But that's very different than a cap.
That's what. Yes, I said cap. I should have said peak in production because what we're capping right now is the emissions from the oil and gas sector. We're not waiting for 2032 for that to happen.
So let me just ask you then, if you're not going to cap production, but you are going to try and rein in or cap emissions, are you banking solely on technology making up the difference?
In part, for sure, yes. And we're already doing it. We've already put in place regulation to rein in emissions of methane.
Oh crap.
27, but 30 times more powerful than CO2. Those emissions in the oil and gas sector are on the path to be reduced by 40 to 45%. And we've done that in a matter of a few years. And we're not stopping there. We want to get to 75% methane reduction by 2030. So what we're trying to do really is, regardless of what happens with production in Canada of fossil fuels, we want to ensure that emissions are going down. We're capping them and will go down so that we can meet our 2030 targets and get to net zero by 2050.
What I wonder,
Damn it!
Canadians who are watching right now is whether or not your government actually has the tools in place or will, through this consultation process, to ensure that happens when oil and gas is concerned. Because that argument so far has been so focused on capping production, because your government says it won't happen, if you rely on something like carbon capture in storage and utilization, I mean, you're relying on a technology that is largely unproven at the scale that your government is hoping it will work.
Actually, I think we were very prudent in the emissions reduction plan that I was talking about a little bit earlier. We're hoping to reduce emissions compared to what they were in 2005 by about 300 million tons a year. We're banking on carbon capture and storage for 5% of that 300 million tons. So we're really not putting all our eggs in that basket. It is one of many solutions that we're exploring for the oil and gas sector, as well as many other sectors. A couple of weeks ago, we published new regulations for what we call the clean fuel standard. So to ensure that the fossil fuels that we are consuming in Canada, the gasoline that we're consuming, will be lower and lower emissions. As the Europeans are doing this, California is doing this as well. We've announced that we would have sales mandate for zero emission vehicles by 2026, 60% by 2030, and 100% by 2035. So this idea that capturing and sequestering carbon is the only game in town as far as our climate change plan is concerned is simply true.
Okay, I think that characterization is fair, but even 5% isn't a negligible amount, right? And it is largely unproven at this scale, right? It costs a lot of money. I know that it's a tax credit that you're offering. We've already heard from one company that says that it probably won't incentivize them to do it. Again, 5% is not nothing. It is a gamble.
It's always a gamble when it comes to technology. Do we know that we can get to 100% of zero emission vehicles by 2035? We don't. But we're putting in place measures to ensure we get there. We're putting in place an incentive so more Canadians can go for electric vehicles. We're deploying tens of thousands of charging stations across the country. We've already installed 25,000. We'll be installing another 50,000. We're investing with companies to transform the Canadian auto sector from a sector that produces internal combustion engine to electric vehicles. But are we 100% sure that we will get there? We never. This is public policy. Guarantees are unfortunately something that don't exist. But we're confident that with all of the measures we're putting in place, we will achieve our targets.
Respectfully, though, I take your point that there are no guarantees, but I think what Canadians have seen time and time again from your government, and certainly the government before it and the government before that, is a failure to meet the targets that are set out. So when I specifically refer to carbon capture and the gamble that's taken there, it's not just like putting in electric vehicle stations, right? It's a huge capital investment that right now companies are hesitant to make. That's why I asked.
I I disagree with you. We haven't missed any of the targets. My government has not missed any of the targets that we've set for ourselves when it comes to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Other governments have. Well, Canada, it's true, but not us. And again, I mean, we're doing a number of things. So you talk about capture and storage. We're trying to transform the electrical system and electricity production in Canada. We've put in place legislation to ban the use of coal by 2030. It's happening much faster than what we thought. If you look at the 2019 inventories, greenhouse gas inventories, emissions are going down. Like they went down also in 2020. It's hard to tell what was because of the pandemic and what was because of. Well, I've asked experts, and they couldn't tell me that. So if you know that, well.
No, I'm saying I agree. It is difficult to ascertain what's due to what. That's all I'm saying.
But in 2019, there was no pandemic. Oil production went up. The economy was red hot in Canada, and our emissions still went down. So our plan is starting to work. We have one of the most ambitious carbon pricing systems in the world, and according to the IMF, one of the best ones. So we're doing everything we possibly can to reduce emissions, and we're not banking on one single technology or
Alright, time to go.
piece of policy to get to where we need to go.
Okay, Minister, I'm out of time. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Vash.
Patrick Brown says he's running for mayor of Brampton again after being disqualified as federal Conservative leadership candidate. Does that mean he's dropping his appeal and legal fight? I'll ask him right after the break.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Lottomax. The next Lottomax jackpot is an estimated $20 million. Withdrawals Tuesdays and Fridays, we can dream to the max.
KFC's $15 meal for two. With triple hand-breaded seasoned chicken. More golden sides. Only at KFC. It's finger licking good.
So, are you excited? I am, but I'm a little nervous. This feels like a big change. It's not. I have one. People act like they're so hard to take care of or whatever, but it's totally a piece of cake. Well, that's good to hear. See how easy that is? I hope being a mom is that easy. It's not. I know.
Going electric just got easier. Chevrolet will cover standard installation of a charging outlet with Charge by Chevrolet. Electric, not for everyone. Find new roads.
Laughter helps us overcome challenges. It gives us the strength to fight adversity. That's why we support foundations that foster the superpower of laughter. The Laughing Cow, because it's better to laugh.
I'm Adrian Arsenault tonight on The National. The shortage of a key raw material is causing a bit of chaos in the construction sector. See tonight on Canada's Best National Newscast.
Breaking news when it happens. Get the CBC News app now for the latest local and international breaking stories that matter to you. Download the free CBC News app today.
It has been the greatest privilege to serve the city over the last 4 years, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years. We've done
Patrick Brown is running for re-election as mayor of Brampton, Ontario. He was bidding for the federal Conservative Party's leadership until the party disqualified him on July 5th, saying his campaign broke election financing rules, sending the already controversial race into overdrive. Patrick Brown is with us from Brampton. Hi, Mr. Brown. Good to see you again.
my pleasure to be on.
The last time we spoke, you were pursuing legal options and appealing the federal party's decision to disqualify you. Have you given up on all that?
So we're still pursuing legal options. I believe it's important that Canadians know what happened here. Having said that, I think it's very clear that the ballots have been mailed out for weeks now, that they have damaged the possibility of having a fair election. There's no way that you can run a competitive election when ballots have been mailed out and they've told the membership that you're disqualified. It's unfortunate because I thought we had a real shot at winning. But at the end of the day, I was running because I didn't want to see the Conservative Party take an extreme approach like we've seen in the U.S. with the Republican Party there. And at least I
ain't that bad.
my opinions are heard, and I still feel very strong.
Alright, I'm gonna drink some water.
To have an extreme version of the Conservative Party.
I just
Aliens on
she
the
said very clearly there's been no breach of the Elections Act.
platform.
Unfortunately, the Federal
Damn
Conservative
it.
Party didn't want to have a competitive election. They didn't want to have a fair and free election. They've got a coronation in mind, and I don't think that's good for the party. I really don't think having the party establishment allow the party to take this dramatic leap to try to replicate the Republican Party in the U.S. is good for modern day conservatism.
I do understand why you would have that feeling, but you know, the last time we spoke again, I asked for proof. How do you know that you said right now that it's clearly a request from Pierre Poilievre's campaign. This woman, through her lawyers, says she was a volunteer on your campaign. That, you know, there was no involvement from Pierre Poilievre's campaign, yet you continue to insist something else is true, and you continue to kind of accuse your party of doing something really serious without proof behind that.
Well, first of all, there was no proof of any breach of the Election Act, and they made this decision to disenfranchise over 150,000 Canadians. And it was the Pierre Poilievre campaign that told John Reynolds, the former party leader, my campaign co-chair, that they were the ones that were going to do this. They told them before that they were going to pursue this. I certainly believe John Reynolds has a ton of credibility and respect, and you know, he called me right away and said, this is what they're up to. I was Debbie Jolion's own friend. Debbie told that to her friends that this was what's happening. Listen, I think everyone in the country knows.
The thing is, I don't know how to buy trains. I mean, I don't know how to get new trains. And
I think everyone knows what happened.
I know where to buy them, but how to get more new trains, which I want to know.
September 10th, the shenanigans we see on hold.
And certainly doesn't. I don't know what the truth is. I just know that I haven't seen proof as to underscore everything that you're alleging. Anyway, we've talked about that a lot. I do want to move on just finally before I let you go to what you announced today around running again to be mayor of Brampton. And specifically, I wanted to ask about your candidacy and whether it is the best thing for the city. Because I remember on the day you were disqualified from the federal race, we got another press release from a group of city councilors on your council banding together to raise questions really about your ethical.
Oh God, stop. Oh, no. Oh my God.
Really has so many enemies.
Listen, I am proud of my record in Brampton. We landed.
I was too fast. Hold on.
$1 billion investment, a new medical
can I just
school,
reverse?
a new transit facility. We're going to be the first big city in the country to electrify our transit fleet, green, clean, and environmentally friendly. We froze property taxes for the first time in 19 years. And it was the residents of Brampton that encouraged me to run federally, to stop the Trumpification of the right wing in this country. And it's the residents of Brampton who once again told me to come back if the federal
I'm reversing. Let's go.
And serve Brampton. I will be a loud voice for
You're
the city.
telling me I can't reverse?
I will stand up for the city to make sure that they get their fair share. And, you know, obviously, we've had some councils that I disagree with, that I've had to point out their failures. We had an integrity commissioner report of a counselor who committed allegations of sexual assault. It was
the only way to reverse.
And we had a group of counselors fire the integrity commissioner for doing
the
so.
only way I can
I
reverse
stood up against that. I thought that was wrong. Half of our council stood up against that because we thought that was wrong. And I have complete confidence that the residents of Brampton will make sure that the right people are around the table. I think we'll get a great council. I'm excited to work with a council post-October that is really focused on what's best for Brampton, not some of these shenanigans that I believe.
Because when there's a red circle, that's all into my
Things are so bad. People question your ethical leadership so much that they are putting out press releases and saying how concerned they are. Like the fact that you are overseeing a council that is that split, is that the best thing for people who live in Brampton?
Well, I don't think after October we're going to have a split council. I think we're going to have a united
oh my God, this has
council.
to get shut
Listen,
down.
a lot of councils in the country are split. That's quite often at City Hall where you have.
But respect for Mr. Brown. I'm not getting releases from
everybody has to go get from
councils
that
right
door.
across the country saying
That
the things that
sucks.
this one did.
Well, I think the difference is
Sorry.
I obviously draw more attention. I think other releases would
I'm sorry, people.
the interest of CBC because it's not someone involved in national politics. What I would say though is that I hear all around the city
Jesus,
what
people
folks
can't
think,
just.
and I know some of the councils who have been involved their role as integrity commissioner don't have the confidence of the city, and they would like to be replaced. So I feel very good that I'll have a great
Sorry, my
council
bad.
to work with post-October. I work with everything we can to stand up for Brampton, to make sure we become a city that is tax competitive, that fights for our fair share, and continue to make the investments that we've been working with on the province into healthcare.
Mr. Brown, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
It's time now for the 5, a quick catch-up on the stories you need to know about today.
What have I done?
Pat King, a key figure in the Freedom Convoy protest that shut down Ottawa's core for 3 weeks, was granted bail today. He's been in jail for 5 months since he was first arrested. The decision to release him comes after a 2-day bail review hearing held last week. King was first arrested back in February on 4 charges, including mischief and counseling to obstruct police. The number of charges has continued to pile up. Among the conditions of King's bail, he has to leave Ottawa within 24 hours, he has to reside with a surety in Alberta, and cannot contact or communicate with other Freedom Convoy leaders, including Tamara Leach. King is also banned from using social media in any form or banned from having others post on his behalf.
This is what I hate this shit, man. It's like, come on.
2 years less a day in jail
Give me a
after
break.
pleading guilty to sexually assaulting 2 young men. A Quebec judge accepted the joint sentencing recommendation from the Crown and Boisclair's lawyer. The former politician pleaded guilty on June 20th to 1 count of sexual assault with the participation of another person and 1 count of sexual assault. The 2 assaults took place in January 2014 and November 2015 at Boisclair's Montreal apartment.
My family doctor actually went on a leave in February, so we kind of seen it coming.
The list of 24,000 people on PEI's waiting list for a family doctor is getting longer and longer. Another family doctor quit today, a month after 3 others announced they were closing their practices, affecting 5,000 patients. In a statement to CBC News, Health PEI said it's aware of other doctors looking at reducing or closing their practices. It says it will provide access to virtual care to all patients who have lost their family physicians. The sentencing phase of Nicholas Cruz's trial began today. He's the gunman who shot at students at a high school in Parkland, Florida in February 2015. The trial will determine if he'll spend life in prison or if he'll face the death penalty. The gunman pleaded guilty to 17.
Oh, dummy, I didn't close the damn door.
Today, the prosecutor read a transcript from a cell phone video the gunman made just
I didn't close the door.
shooting, outlining his plans for it. A warning, the details you're about to hear
No
are
wonder it wouldn't go.
My goal is at least 20 people
Hopefully it goes
with an
now.
AR-15 and some tracer rounds. It's going to be a big event. And when you see me on the news, you'll know who I am. You're all going to die. I can't wait.
The big takeaway, I think, in my opinion, from the committee was that yes, the school commander was in charge, but other agencies or other individuals could have taken over the scene.
First responders who rushed to the Uvalde, Texas school shooting in May did not prioritize saving lives, according to a new report. Not due to malice or ill intent, but through, quote, systemic failures and egregiously poor decision-making. 21 people, including 19 kids, were killed. Nearly 400 law enforcement officials rushed to the mass shooting at the elementary school, but no one assumed command. The report criticizes the approach of the hundreds of officers who surrounded the school as, quote, lackadaisical, and it concludes some officers waited because they relied on bad information. Steve Bannon's criminal trial kicks off today in Washington, D.C. The longtime Trump ally is facing 2 criminal charges for failing to comply with the January 6th committee's subpoenas. That's the committee investigating the Capitol Hill riots. CBC's Paul Hunter is following the story for us. He's in Washington. Hi, Paul. Good to see you. Thanks for all your work last week.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you. Bring us up to speed on what happened today in court, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, jury selection began, and unsurprisingly, given the attention of the case, it went slowly, with the judge evidently taking time to draw out any possible preconceptions held by potential jurors. Last word was the jury selection is expected to go into tomorrow before the trial proper gets underway. Remember, this is Steve Bannon, right? Maybe the insiderist of all Trump insiders. He may or may not have come up with the term drain the swamp, but it was his calling card, among others. A nativist, a populist. He ran Trump's campaign in the sort of last few weeks of the 2016 campaign. He was Trump's go-to advisor in the early days of the Trump presidency. And, you know, although they didn't always see eye to eye, in the run-up to January 6th, 2020, Bannon was a major proponent of overturning the 2020 election and is widely viewed as driving that thinking in the mind of Donald Trump. In the fabled so-called war room on January 6th, in a room in the hotel just across the road from here, where much of what was playing out is said to have been coordinated, there was Steve Bannon, right? Significantly, with direct communication with Donald Trump. That's why the committee wants to hear from him, with the subpoenas that Bannon ignored, one for testimony, one for documents, neither followed up by Bannon. So jury selection continues, Vashi. Then, as I say, it's straight into the nuts and bolts of it all this week in federal court here in D.C.
And where might it go beyond that?
Well, it's going to go quick. Verdict by the end of the week, say some. It might depend on what Bannon does. He doesn't really testify. He's called it the misdemeanor from hell. And not only does no one know what he actually means by that, but nobody knows what he's going to say or do this week. Fact is, though, he doesn't have much leeway in his defense. The only thing, per earlier court rulings, that he can say is that he misunderstood the subpoena. That's his defense. So, depending what the jury thinks, if
No, I
he's
could
convicted,
jump over this in real
he
life.
will go to jail. It's a 30-day minimum sentence, a mandated minimum, maximum up to a year, and $100,000 fine. Having said all of that, though, he's now also said that he would testify to the committee, a reversal on that. So, you know, it remains to be seen where that goes and whether he actually does. But park all that over there, Bashi, because later in the week, we've also got another primetime committee hearing. Perhaps the final January 6th committee hearing in which Americans this time will be given a kind of minute-by-minute accounting of what Donald Trump did and what he didn't do January 6th. From the end of his speech on the ellipse to that, you know, the moment he released that video at the end of the day calling rioters special people, but that it's time to go home. Donald Trump dissected Thursday night primetime. Same day, if the trial really does go that quickly with Bannon, same day Steve Bannon may end up in prison. His sentence could begin immediately. Big week, read all things January 6th.
Another slow week. Slow news week in D.C. We'll be talking to you lots, Paul. Thanks so much. CBC's Paul Hunter for us in Washington. Don't go anywhere. The Power Panel is up next. Sharon Carr, Amanda Galbraith, Brad Levine, and Marika Walsh will all be here. Stay tuned.
What's new? What's breaking? What's really going on? CBC News Network. All the news live. Weeknights starting at 5.
They feeling good. Like I should.
You've got this when your bank makes it easier for you. And when you open a TD Unlimited checking account, you can track your spending and savings with the TD MySpend app to help you feel confident managing your money. Plus, you can get $300 in Amazon gift cards. Get started with a TD Unlimited checking account today. TD, ready to help you move forward.
Make this the season you realize the farther you go, the better it gets. The season you secured a campsite that didn't require reservations, found a water park that didn't have lines, and realized that even out here, you're never alone. Make this season Jeep season with Canada's best-selling 4x4 SUV brand. Right now, select owners can get up to $4,000 in total discounts on Jeep Grand Cherokee, plus a 1% finance rate reduction.
Bleeding gums? Hold on. It could be a sign of gingivitis. Listerine mouthwash contains antibacterial essential oils that kill up to 99.9% of germs and fight plaque and gingivitis. Listerine, trusted for generations with 125 years of germ-killing power.
Fierce summer heat is a burger hit with the new Ghost Pepper Nuggets. For the
Famous ghost pepper slices up crispy chicken nuggets. Fiery flavor for just $3.49. Can you handle the heat? Try the new ghost pepper nuggets today at Burger King.
Is that a Monday?
We have help taking care of the small things. We can concentrate on the big things, like making the new country home. Sunlight, helping Canadians shine for over 100 years.
Can better be better? Can Steve successfully grab the brands they love on a tight budget?
We'll be able to talk everywhere. Can you hear me? Over.
He was so close, so close.
You have to say over. Over.
Feel the flavor. Like a million lime kisses. Feel the flavor.
This Roundhouse movie thing? So much easier. Sure. But if you want a real break, check this out. This massage God insurance company down
Spotted a DQ chicken shrimp basket? Get excited, dunkers. Because it's your choice of dips. Dip a strip in gravy, ranch, or flamethrower dip. It's genius. It's the DQ chicken strip basket, and it's ready for the plunge. DQ, have me taste good.
Welcome back to Power and Politics. Patrick Brown says he's running for Brampton mayor because the Conservative leadership race is rigged.
The party would have manufactured anything to disqualify me from the race because, this was clearly a request of the Pierre Poilievre campaign to not have me in the race.
Let's bring in the Power panel to talk about that. Navigators Amanda Galbraith is in Toronto. Council of Public Affairs Brad Levine and Rika Walsh of the Globe and Mail are in Ottawa. And we're waiting for Sharon Kerr, political strategist. She's also in Toronto, but we're having some connection issues. We'll have her with us soon. Amanda, I'll start with you. On the level of from 1 to 10, how surprised are you that Patrick Brown is running for mayor in Brampton?
-5. I actually think I called it on the show.
I think you might have, yes.
A couple months ago. Yeah, I'm not surprised the way the race was lining up. He started making noises about this even before the alleged, criminal allegations that are rolling around right now about the actions during the leadership race. So I think that was always an off-ramp that they envisioned, potentially. I think he's got a pretty credible chance of winning there. But I also do not believe that there is a grand conspiracy in the Conservative Party to, kick him out to throw Pierre Poilievre. Frankly, I think Pierre Poilievre probably has this as a win, regardless if Patrick Brown is or is not in the race. So that narrative to me doesn't really fly either.
It is, Brad, though, a narrative that, I'm not sure if you were able to listen to our interview, but one that Patrick Brown continues to make sure is in the public realm, right? Regardless of a lack of proof, he's saying this is all done by Pierre Poilievre, and this shows that the party just wanted it to be a coronation. Is it doing some longer-term damage to I don't know if it's the party maybe, but the process itself, or do you think this kind of goes away as Patrick Brown kind of recedes from the race too?
More of the latter than the former. I don't think this is going to have long-term implications for the reputation of the Conservative Party of Canada. More so, I think this is an issue of Mr. Brown's reputation. It is very difficult to kind of find credible Mr. Brown's assertions that he's appealing, he's giving it the full weight, that he's been hard done by or misdeeds have been done against him. When halfway through the process, or not even halfway through the process, he basically says, "Well, I'm going to run for mayor of Brampton now." It kind of collapses the whole thing. It suggests to me that he doesn't believe that his appeal has any legs to stand on. And that undermines his credibility. Whether or not he wins as the mayor this fall in the Ontario municipal elections, this is like the second time that he's been run out of a Conservative Party entity. But it's more about Brown than it is about the Conservative Party, because when he says, "I've been unjustly accused, I'm going to run a vigorous defense And then halfway through, he says, you know what, I'm not going to win my appeal. I'm going to run for mayor instead. Really, I think, undermines the credibility of his case.
Do you think that's fair, Maria? And I will say that Mr. Brown did say, oh, we're continuing our appeal. Maureen Hannon is still working on my case, but there was not a lot of meat on the bone.
Yeah, just like all the time that he was running to be federal Conservative Party leader back, he didn't rule out a re-election bid in Brampton at the same time because he was keeping all these options open, and now he has another option to go with. I think that it's actually pretty notable, and you went after him a few times in that interview, asking him for proof of his attack on the Conservative Party, and I think it's interesting to hear him essentially accuse the Conservative Party of rigging this election at the same time that he's accusing Pierre Poilievre of Republican politics. I think that, given that he says that how much he supports and stands behind the Conservative Party, the Conservative movement in Canada, it's odd, or there seems to be a disconnect in him attacking it and trying to undermine it to justify where he stands now. And given what Amanda said earlier, whether or not this was going to happen, the path for his victory was almost non-existent given the numbers that Pierre Poilievre had.
Thank you for completing the run. Let's see how
You're essentially saying that the party you wanted to lead, the main opposition party right now in Canada, is rigging an election, is orchestrating it so that somebody is anointed the winner and that you are disqualified. I'm not saying it's not true because I don't have proof otherwise, but I also don't have any proof from Mr. Brown that is the case.
It's so messy. I think that it's quite obvious that Pierre Poilievre is the front runner. The fact that they don't have the proof they need to prove that it was rigged, I think it's fair to say that there was preference or some sort of coronation towards Pierre Poilievre, but Patrick Brown seems to have a lot of trouble that follows him wherever he goes. We saw what happened when he was at the Ontario legislature. We saw what happened recently, like you mentioned, to him with his current council members questioning him. So I don't know exactly what's going on with him, but he's going to really have to provide some concrete proof for that claim to come through. But he does have one of the top lawyers in the country, so I'd be interested to see what's coming out of it.
That is true. Okay, just a quick comment from